Hello everyone, welcome back to Space Alert. Thought I'd have another... I love Space Alert, so I'm going to play some more. And that's all there is to it. Yesterday, I took my second shot at whites and yellows with double actions. I know, white and yellow is not the hardest difficulty. And playing with a team, I would breeze through white and yellow with double actions and specializations, but there's just a lot to manage solo. But on the other hand, we did win yesterday, so I'm turning the difficulty up. That's Space Alert. If you're winning, you're not having enough fun. I mean, there's a balance to be struck, of course. If it's so difficult that you don't feel like you have a chance, it's upsetting. But the joy of the post-mortem is looking at it and seeing, oh, well, I guess I could have done this a little better, and then I might not have died or whatever, so you got to make sure you make some mistakes. I would make some at white and yellow, but let's try all yellows today. Oh, fuck. Okay. I hate the teleporters so much. I'm just going to give myself a reroll on that one. They're not weak. They are powerful, but it's just a lot to manage, and I'm very bad at it, and I just don't want to. I guess I shouldn't... I'll just top deck... Yeah, okay. Computer technician it is. Or data analyst, I think, technically. Okay, that's better. So, I still think specializations are more powerful than heroic actions. The rulebook seems to think otherwise, is my recollection. If you're playing with double actions, a crew of more than one person, and specializations, then you, draw more cards? It's very it's I don't know if it's complicated, but the requirements for... There are certain conditions under which you draw more cards when playing with androids, basically. So if you're playing with androids, you choose the specialization for each of them, and they get it, just specializations are dealt in addition to your hand of normal cards instead of replacing them, right? Whereas one heroic replaces your normal action. In solo, where you have the whole deck, there is no such distinction. But then they also say, oh yeah, and if you're playing with androids and specializations, you should get extra cards, whereas if you play with androids and heroic actions, you don't. So the rules clearly seem to think specializations are weaker, and I wonder if that's because they assume people won't be playing with, all three levels of the specialization, or what? Anyway, I think it's crazy. I think specializations are better. But I don't know. I mean, there is a lot to be said for the ability to just, produce an extra point of damage or an extra point of shields out of nowhere. It's very simple and effective. But being able to do a completely different kind of action you couldn't otherwise do, and then doing it twice per mission, that's cool stuff, right? Your mechanic, for example, can find a spot that maybe they're not doing anything on turn 3, and they can just squeeze this in. Whereas if they had heroic actions, you'd have to find some other opportunity to use the heroic action, a turn when you're doing something, right? Anyway, I don't know. And there are teleports. I probably should be using heroic teleports more often. Anyway, whatever. So I'm just blathering and not playing the game. Why is that? Good question. I did 1 and 2 in my 2 previous videos. I'm going to skip to 4 because I played 3 off camera in a 2-person crew with a friend recently. So this one is fresh in my mind, although I don't think I can tell you much about it. Or could I? I could tell you a few things. We had an internal threat on turn... Well, there's one on turn 7, and there's one before that. And externally, there was... I don't remember exactly, but anyway, we'll just skip to 4. Let's get going.
Enemy activity detected.
Okay, so we have computer technician. Oh, I need cards.
Unconfirmed report.
No, don't do me like that.
Threat.
Okay, right. So let's, I guess, just send the Hyper Navigator downstairs. Arguably, you want people who are downstairs to be the ones earlier in the team's rotation so that they can provide energy to other players before it gets used, but that can go both ways. Sometimes it's nice to be able to refill after energy is used, for example. So
internal threat. Repeat. Time T+2 internal threat.
Power pack overload on 2. Okay, so we need to get people into the lower side areas. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Well, I mean, if we don't have anything to do... Oh, a heroic A? Is that interesting at all? Not really. Turn 2. Okay, so you can head over here. Someone else, let's say you? Let's send the medic, actually. Where is he? Here.
Time T+3. Serious threat. Zone white. Repeat.
Mother Swarm on the white zone. I love very simple threats. Okay, so we're definitely losing this shield. Nothing you can do about it. But, let's just put in the stuff to take care of that real quick, shall we?
Incoming data. Repeat. Incoming data.
I do actually need more cards. Okay, there we go. Okay, and another C.
Incoming data. Repeat. Incoming data.
Okay, so that's this stuff all taken care of. And you. So we just need like an A of some variety. Oh, but don't use this one. This one's valuable. Here.
T+4 threat. Zone blue. Repeat.
Minor asteroid on the blue zone.
Threat. Zone blue.
Okay, so let's send red to upper blue, I guess. Do I have a down A? No. That's fine. Let's shield up, I guess, since we're going to get the reactor refilled anyway by blue. By green, I mean.
3, 2, 1. Data transfer complete.
I need green or blue to press A on 3. I'll have... Here, why don't you do this and also grab battle bots.
T+4 internal
that should take care of this.
T+4 internal threat.
A ninja in lower blue, okay. On 4. I don't like the ninja, but at least we have people there already.
Communication system down. Communications restored.
Okay, turn 4 takes 3 hits. Oh, it's so long. Okay, but any chance blue could get... I really want that down A.
In 1 minute.
There's one in the deck somewhere. No. Come on.
Data transfer.
Isn't there? I know there is.
Data transfer.
There it is.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So we're fixing this up. You're gonna do...
Data transfer complete.
I have a blue C as well. I can remember keeping that. Okay, great. And now you can get down here with battle bots. So on 3, I guess we can do this.
In 20 seconds.
No, the ninja's not even here yet on 3. Okay, just a normal A on 3. And so green doesn't actually have to... You can just press C, I guess.
In 5, 4,
C
3,
blue, maybe?
2, 1. First phase has ended. Begin second phase.
Okay, so that's that.
Time T
And
plus 5.
on 4, we want to start shooting at
Zone
this.
red. Repeat. Time
Phasing
T
fighter
plus
on
5.
5. Gotta remember, only odd
Zone
turns.
red.
Okay, it's too bad green isn't over there anymore, but that's life. Okay, so starting on 4, we want BattleBot A's for blue.
T plus 6. Serious threat.
And an
Zone
A
white.
red for
Repeat.
red, I
T
guess?
plus 6. Serious threat. Zone white.
Okay, a Nemesis, at least, I mean, I think having it in the white zone is good, because I can start hitting it with rockets. Yeah. And we have some energy here. Okay, green, do you have a B red by any chance? I know there's one in the deck. How badly do I want it? Here it
Data
is.
transfer. Repeat. Data transfer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Data transfer complete.
I believe that is all 5 there. No, yellow is using one of these, so there's only 4 remaining. Okay, right. Red has moved, right? Yes.
Time T plus 6.
This,
Threat. Zone blue. Repeat. Time T plus 7. Threat.
a Marauder.
Zone blue.
Okay, I'm starting to get a little overwhelmed here. Do I have another BattleBot A? That would be nice.
Unconfirmed report. Time T plus 7. Internal threat. Repeat. Unconfirmed report. Time T plus 7.
I don't
Internal
currently
threat.
possess one. Is there one in the deck? I don't know, actually. Yes. This ninja's taken 2 damage. This is destroyed. Whoops. But we lost this shield, I assume. Yeah.
Communication system down.
Now, I have a BattleBot C somewhere, I believe. I want to launch the rocket on 7, so I guess I don't need the BattleBot C. Just BattleBot
Communications restored.
Ninja down. C, okay, rocketing. Actually, no, I want the BattleBot C.
Time T plus 8.
There it is.
Zone red. Repeat. Time T plus 8. Threat.
Okay, that
Zone
is the
red.
last external threat. Red is over here. Okay, red. Oh my god. I think I'm just gonna let this fighter hit me. I hate it, but this Nemesis is a problem. If we shoot it for 5 plus 3, that's 8. It takes
Data transfer
4.
in 5, 4,
Is that it?
3,
Jeez.
2, 1. Data
Okay.
transfer.
Okay. Well, red
Second
can maybe
phase
deal with the
ends
fighter. Do I have another
in
red
1
A?
minute.
Yes. And then just another A on 7, please.
Communication system down.
That takes care of the fighter, but we lose a shield. Yellow
Communications restored.
needs more A's. I need A's that don't do anything, man. Normal A's, please. This one. 6,
Second phase
and
ends
then
in
also
20
7,
seconds.
I guess. Can green? Okay, there's plenty of energy there, right? No, not really. Okay, blue, green. I mean, get back in there and start refilling, I
Second phase
guess.
ends in 5,
Didn't I have an AB?
4,
Oh, BA is better.
3, 2, 1.
And, I don't have the card. Okay, I have to spend a good card. I have no idea what the situation is right now. So we shot this guy. He took 1, then we shot him for 9. He took 5. So he's gonna leave us alone. It would be nice to finish him off, but we don't have to. Okay.
Communications restored.
Okay. Did I finish killing the ninja? I did. Okay. That's dead. That's dead. This nobody's messed with at all. I refill. What's the energy situation in the white zone? It's full, I think. It has to be. -1 because green spent some. Okay. We have another rocket going to hit on 8. Which is going to hit you again. So I can't use it on the Marauder.
Communications restored.
Scout we can let go if we have to. Marauder. Okay. I mean, do I have another AC? That's too bad I just used that, of course. A, B, C down, I guess? Just a normal C. Sure. Okay, so that should take care of the Nemesis. We're not dying to that.
Data transfer. Repeat. Data transfer in 5.
And
4,
the computer.
3, 2, 1. Data transfer complete.
The Scout is... I've used up all my rockets. I just can't deal with the Scout. I mean, I guess I have interceptors? Oh, that's a good idea. Green. Get out there. I would have loved for you to work on, like, shields and stuff, but tough shit, I guess. Okay, if we get out there and the interceptor is starting on 9...
Data transfer. Repeat.
Do I want him working on the Scout or the Marauder?
4, 3, 2, 1.
Sort of
Data
both.
transfer complete.
Okay, so let's play a BattleBot on 10. To make sure the Marauder's dead. Then a C, then nothing. Okay. Maybe it would have been better to have him jump away early, honestly. Okay, blue. You need a C as soon as possible. The last rocket. I don't have an up A. Can we spare red or yellow? Yeah, red. We decided to leave the Scout alone. So do I have a double blue in here somewhere? Here's one. And an A here and here probably handles it.
Operation ends in 20 seconds.
I need more A's for blue. Oh, I do have a down A. Here's one. Here's another. Okay.
Operation ends. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it is what it is. I ran out of buttons to press. Didn't use the specializations at all. Everybody was a completely normal citizen. I'm sure there are some that would have been nice to press, but here we are. Okay, let's see how that went. I certainly felt overloaded on this one. We are going to need these as well for the ninja. Although I think they shouldn't do anything, hopefully. Let's see. Anything else I should be doing before we start? Yeah, get the second 4 on there. Make it clear these are 2s. This was a lot of threats. It's the right number of threat points, though, so I mean, it's not like I imagined one. Yeah, heroic actions would have been way better this game, because I could have just really used a heroic A for... Oh, by the way, could have done this. Wouldn't have done anything because of the Mother Swarm, of course. But I really could have used a heroic A for yellow to do a bit more damage to the Nemesis. Anyway, new threats on 1. Nothing, I think, right? Yes. Actions 1. Blue moves blue and presses C, getting battle bots. Red presses B, shielding up the white zone, and moves blue. Yellow presses C, getting the computer. Make it clear that's in the shield. And green moves downstairs and refills the reactor. Pretty good so far. No damage, no threats. Threats on 2. We have a power pack overload in lower red and lower blue. There, I don't know why this threat is a yellow normal threat, actually. I mean, I don't know. Because it's X action, this threat is very intentionally kind of acting like both slimes. Right? The X action for this, it appears in lower blue and lower red, and there are 2 slime cards which appear in those 2 positions. And the slimes are yellow. Where's the other one? Here. So, right, they appear in lower blue and lower red. Destroy a rocket, disable the BattleBot squad. I guess, like, the fact that the slime slows you down and this thing doesn't when you walk in, and this requires BattleBots and this doesn't, sort of makes up for the fact that this thing's actions are a little bit more unpleasant. But it kind of requires 2 players, which is its own nuisance. I don't know. Power Pack Overload is an expansion threat. And so even though it's at the same difficulty as the slime, maybe they made it a little bit harder on purpose. Anyway, we have that. Is there something outside? No, we don't have that until 3. Okay. Actions 2. Blue goes downstairs and presses A, repairing 1 point on the Power Pack Overload. Red's waiting. Yellow's waiting. Green moves red and presses A, also working on the Power Pack Overload. However, its special text says, if performed at both stations, i.e. lower blue and lower red, on the same turn, you do 1 more total damage. So we actually repair it for 3 this way. That's all the actions. Damage, still nothing to shoot at. Threats move. Power Pack Overload moves 3 and does nothing. Did I get the computer? Yes. New threats on 3. We have a Mother Swarm. Actions 3. Blue presses A again, repairing the Power Pack Overload. Red is waiting. Yellow presses A, firing on the Mother Swarm. And green presses C to get BattleBots and then moves blue. Planning to help out over here. I guess he mostly just refills the reactor a bit. Damage. We do have some. We shot at the Mother Swarm. It takes 2 because that's the most damage it can take on a turn. Threats move. Just the Mother Swarm, which moves 2 and does nothing. Threats on 4. There's a minor asteroid. Hey. Actions 4. Oh, no, hang on. There's a ninja as well. Actions 4. These are some sick double actions. This is one advantage of having the whole deck, is that you can dig for these if they're really important, which they were here. Blue attacks the ninja, who doesn't fight back, but he has 3 health, so it takes a while. And then also presses A. Red finally awakens from his stupor, presses A in the blue zone, and moves red. Yellow presses C, getting the computer, and also A, firing on the mother swarm again. Whoops, that goes there, that goes there. And green presses B, refilling the main reactor again, and moves back to the red zone. Is that right? Yes. He's very busy, very industrious. Compute damage. We are shooting for 6 on the blue zone at this minor asteroid. No shields, so it takes 6, but is not quite dead. Meanwhile, in the white zone, we're attacking for 5, and it takes 2 more damage. Threats move. Who's first at the moment? It's the Mother Swarm. Mother Swarm moves 2 and attacks 1 on the white zone. No problem. Then the minor asteroid moves 4. Its X action doesn't do anything, but does mean that when you destroy it, it will explode for 1 damage. That is to say, it does something. It increases the damage it will do if it explodes, but you don't really have to track it. You can just look and see how many X's and Y's it's crossed. Then the ninja moves 2 and does nothing. Threats on 5. There's a phasing fighter. And that's it. Actions 5. Blue, once again, BattleBots and presses A. Red moves red and presses A. Now this is something double actions can do that you just can't do with specializations. Or I mean, to fire the lasers in the blue zone on one turn and then the red zone on the next turn, you really have to play A, red, red, A to kind of squeeze in a double move without taking away from any buttons. I don't know, just kind of cool to be able to do that. Yellow presses A again. And green moves back to the blue zone. We're on turn 5, right? Or back to white? Yeah. I thought I would need him over here to help with the phasing fighter. I guess I did need him over there. Just pressing A would have been sweet. It would have saved us a lot of energy and effort. Oh well. That was after I figured out red's plan, and I guess I realized that I kind of needed more energy in the white zone. But if you just like pressed A and then blue, that would have been way better. Oh well. Damage. We shot the phasing fighter for 4. It takes 2. We shot the Mother Swarm for 5. It takes 2 and is defeated. We should clean up this energy. We shot on the blue zone at the minor asteroid for 2. It is defeated, and since it crossed 1x, it attacks 1. That's all the damage. Threats move. I guess the ninja is the lowest numbered threat. It executes its X action, which says it sends drones into both adjacent stations. That's these two. And if any player moves into or out of these zones, they're poisoned. Why drones apply poison is anybody's guess. And why they only do it when you move, who knows? We don't need to worry about what that poison is, though, because we're about to fix the problem. After the ninja, the phasing fighter moves 3 and phases out. Did I get the computer? Oh, I it's only turn 5, huh? Okay. New threats on 6. The Nemesis has arrived. The main threat that could actually kill me if I mess it up. But I don't think I did. Actions 6. Blue, BattleBots, defeating the ninja and his drones, because it says until ninja is destroyed, the drones do something. And then also presses C, launching a rocket. Red does nothing. Yellow keeps on pressing A. Green does nothing. You know, it might have been nice, one of these guys. Slow things down? I don't know. Damage. The only weapon that I see fired is this energy, which does 1 damage to the behemoth. 4 shields is a heck of a drug. Threats move. The ninja's gone. The phasing fighter phases in and moves 1, 2, 3. It attacks 1. There go the red shields. Then the Nemesis, behemoth. How many times did I call this the Nemesis? It's a behemoth. Moves 2. Threats on 7. What do you know? There's more. I really have no idea whether I dealt with this. I hope so. Actions on 7. But like, it probably wouldn't kill us if I didn't. Actions on 7. Oh, I needed to move this rocket as well. Blue launches another rocket. An AC would have been nice, but I couldn't find one. Red presses A. Oh no! I didn't. This rocket is hitting the phasing fighter, not the behemoth like I had hoped. Oh well. The next one will land, hopefully. But I hope the next one was hitting the Marauder, I think. Anyway, so that's, let's see, a rocket, an A over here. Yeah, green really messed up. Should have pressed A blue on 5. Oh well. Yellow presses A again. And yeah, we're on turn 6. Green does nothing. Another A wouldn't have hurt, buddy. Well, yeah, it wouldn't have. All right. Damage. The rocket targets the phasing fighter along with this, blowing it out of the sky. 7 damage, overkilling it by 5. No, that can't be right. Only overkilling it by 3, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, the behemoth takes 1 extra damage, just enough to keep it from executing its other action. Yeah, actually, the behemoth can't kill us. I was thinking of the Nemesis, actually, which does kill us when it gets to Z. But we could just tank this if we had to. I think we've won already, right? These threats don't do enough damage to kill you. But let's get as many points as possible. Or survive. I don't care about points. Let's have as few disasters as possible. Let's put it that way. Threats move. You move 2. And you do have at least 2 damage, so you don't attack 2. Then the Marauder moves 3. Threats on 8. We have a Scout. Actions 8. Blue launches the final rocket. Who it's going to hit, nobody knows. Oh, this was supposed to be another A. Oh well, I guess I tripped. We'll figure that out when I get there. Red charges back into the blue zone. Yellow presses A and then B. Oh, how nice. This is working out better than I had hoped. I thought. No. What turn is this? It's turn... I skipped green's action. On 7. There should be one more damage on this guy because we fired the pulse cannon. We should be out of fuel canisters. Okay, hang on. Oh, I looked ahead in yellows. I performed yellow's AB, but it should have been a CA. Okay. All right, so we still have only 2 shields there. That's what happened, is I was in the middle of executing turn 7, and I did yellow's turn 8 instead. Okay. So yellow fired, and there was definitely energy there when he did that. Then green pressed... Okay, so there isn't more damage on this guy. But green pressed B, filling the reactor, and then A, using up for 1 of the energy. Okay, got it. Okay, I think we're all synced up now. Damage. The rocket targets the behemoth, as well as this energy from the laser and the pulse cannon. So that's 4, 9 on the behemoth, who takes 5 and is destroyed. Ha 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 ha. Okay. I wasn't sure if we had gotten him yet, because the earlier rocket missing was a bummer. This pulse cannon energy is also targeting the Marauder, but the Marauder has a shield and nothing else targets it, so that energy is wasted. Threats move, including our last rocket. Marauder moves 1, 2, 3. External threats have extra shields. Oh, that's true. I do hate that. Then the scout moves 2. Actions 9. Blue bonks the wall and presses A. Red also bonks the wall and also presses A. Yellow gets the computer. And green I skipped green's action on turn 8 too. I don't know what's wrong with me. Green moves red and up on turn 8. And then, right, okay. I was like confused by this C up. I thought it was an up C, but yeah. On turn 9, which is the turn we're on, right? Yeah. Goes out into the interceptors to do battle with threats. Damage. This rocket targets the Marauder. We also have this and this targeting the Marauder, so we're shooting it for a total of 9. And it only has 8 total toughness, so to speak. Even with the extra shield, right? So it's dead. And the scout loses its extra shield. The interceptors are targeting nothing. Threats move. That's just the scout. Other external threats advance a square, but no. Its X is other external threats attack more. Did I get the computer? Yeah. Actions 10. Blue, I meant to play this as an A, so we'll say blue tripped. He shoots at nothing. Right? The fact that this is a trip, like, that this A doesn't do anything, doesn't mean I can choose to play it the other way around. I intended to play an A. I am honor bound to trip here. Not that either action would be better for me or worse, really. Red? I guess I didn't track the energy well, or I just played this in a panic at the end. Red presses A to no effect because there's no energy in his reactor, and then moves red. Yellow is done. And green presses BattleBots to stay at distance 1. Would have been pretty nice if he'd moved out to distance 2. But I was keeping him here to harry the Marauder in case I had failed to defeat it. And I think we still have the Scout taken care of. Compute damage, none. Threats move. Actions, 11. Couldn't find anything for the rest of these guys to do. It's a good thing I didn't mess anything up. Because some just-in-case actions would have been nice, and I just couldn't find any. Blue presses C to advance to distance 2 in the interceptors. Damage. The Scout is targeted by the interceptors, which deal 3 damage if they're targeting only a single threat. And of course, the interceptors target everything on all 3 tracks at the distance that they currently are. So they're at distance 2, and we are therefore targeting the Scout. And if they're targeting only one thing, they do 3 damage. Scout can't be targeted by heavy laser cannons, but the interceptors are not cannons. Takes 2. Threats move. Scout moves 2. Other external threats advance a square. Not happening. Actions 12. Everybody plays nothing, but for at least one player, playing nothing was on purpose. Which, when you're in the interceptors, makes you retreat back toward, or let's say withdraw, back closer to the ship, to distance 1. Damage. Green shoots down the Scout. What a heroic effort. Threats move. There aren't any. Compute damage. As part of this compute damage is when green should be moving back into the ship. Or I guess, I don't know, I mean, yeah. There's kind of an invisible player actions phase here where no one's allowed to act, but interceptors withdraw by 1. You don't, yeah. Anyway. Threats move. We escape. No damage. A perfect mission with yellow threats, double actions. I'm very happy with that. A few things didn't go quite as I planned. You guys chill. Mostly it was, well, mistiming the rocket. I also think there was like one moment where I played something a quarter second after the phase had ended or something. I think it's fair to say that that was within the phase. I don't mind that. Yeah, and I mean, obviously there's a much better plan for the phasing fighter since green was already there and could have just fired on it, saving us in energy and a bunch of red's time. But we'll give green a commendation anyway for his heroic work in the interceptors. And the pulse cannon shot, right? Really, green did a lot. That pulse cannon shot added the 1 extra damage we needed to clear out the behemoth, making up for the fact that I hit it with 1 fewer rocket than I thought I had. And it turned out I only needed 1 rocket for the Marauder, syncing everything else up. I just didn't know for sure if I was going to get there. I just launched all the rockets and pressed all the lasers. Obviously, blue did a great job here. And who needs specializations, right? They're for chumps. The Mother Swarm was a very easy threat. The power pack overload was fine, right? It was relatively easy to cope with because it was early enough. It was easy to delegate 2 people to it, but it still took 2 people's time. Yeah, I mean, if I could do something better this mission, it would be... Well, if I could change cards for this mission with hindsight, I would have changed green to like play an A blue here instead of just a blue. But that's not very actionable, right? Oh, you should have played different cards, idiot. What might be actionable is that, like, I should have realized that the rocket I launched was going to hit the Phantom Fighter, Phasing Fighter, and not the Behemoth. Because the Behemoth... Where is it? Here it is. The Behemoth showed up later than the Phasing Fighter and was slower. It was like a little bit closer, but that doesn't make up for being later and slower. So, like, it should, in theory, have been obvious who the rocket would hit. But this was a case of, like, desynchronized, doing things out of chronological order, in a sense. Where I developed a plan to deal with the fighter, dealt with it, and then forgot the fighter. And my later plan to deal with the Behemoth should have been influenced by what was happening with the fighter, but I'd already put it out of my mind. So this is the kind of thing that it would be helpful to pay more attention to. Especially when you're playing with a crew of multiple players, this is the kind of thing you can externalize a little bit, is like... You know, as a solo player, you're in charge of every threat. But playing with a crew, usually, you know, I wouldn't even say delegate, because no one player is generally in charge in a crew of peers. But, you know, you take point on various threats, right? I say, all right, I'll take care of the Behemoth, which means I'm in charge of the plan for the Behemoth. I may ask, hey, I need you to launch a rocket. Can anyone launch a rocket? Or I need energy in the white zone. Can anybody do that? Right? You can ask for things, but you're ultimately in charge of the plan. And so the player who's in charge of planning for the Behemoth when they launch a rocket, maybe they're not in charge of the plan for the Phasing Fighter, right? And they might not know if it's around. They might then say, hey, you know, if I launch a rocket that hits on 7, you know, is the Phasing Fighter still here on 7? I guess would be the right question to ask. And then the player who's in charge of the Phasing Fighter could say, yeah, it is. And then it's like, okay, well, great, my rocket is going to be wasted if I do that, so maybe I'll just press A instead. So in solo, it's a little bit harder. You have to do all of that yourself, but it is the kind of thing I could pay more attention to. I'm happy with how the interceptor stuff all went. The asteroid was fine. One common little trick you can use for asteroids, by the way, of all sizes, and they do have them of all sizes, I think. I mean, there's a white normal, a yellow normal, a white Sirius, a yellow Sirius. I don't think there's a red normal asteroid, but there's a red Sirius asteroid. They all follow a similar pattern. No shields, can't be targeted by rockets, and when destroyed, they attack equal to the number of X and Z's they've crossed, X's and Y's they've crossed, rather. But they have a scalar factor. Like the white normal threat attacks for 0 when it blows up. The minor asteroid attacks for 1 for each X and Y. The asteroid, I guess, yeah, which is the white normal threat, attacks for 2 for each thing it passed. The major asteroid, which is the yellow Sirius, attacks for 3 for each thing it passed. And I think the planetoid, which is the red Sirius one, attacks for 4 for each thing it passed. I guess we could check, right? Actually, I think the script deletes the threats that it's not using, which is a little rude. It should put them in a bag or something, I guess. Anyway, so we can't check without reloading the table. But one little trick you can use on all of them, because they all have the same... where is it? They all have the same Z action, and no X's or Y's, except for kind of charging up. If it's crossed so many X's and Y's that blowing it up is hazardous, you can try to trim it down to just 1 HP and then let it bump into the shields for 1 damage. That's not a panacea, because getting it to exactly 1 could be tricky. There could be other threats behind it you want to shoot at. But that's the kind of thing you can do with asteroids. And I considered doing it here, but it was easy enough to just finish it off. And we would just take 1 either way. Anyway, I liked my handling of every threat. With the exception of the phasing fighter, I guess. That caused me problems for itself and for the behemoth. The Marauder was pretty haphazard, but that was fine. The Scout, it would be nice to deal with earlier, but I'd already launched all the rockets. You pretty much have to chase it down in the interceptors in that case. And I'm glad I had the mental bandwidth figured out. Okay, enough gloating. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.